What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be discussing how I've managed to save over 100 grand before the age of 30. Now I understand that this might seem like a little amount of money to some people, but to me it's a massive milestone since I was a kid, so it's pretty huge for me and hopefully it's pretty huge for some of you guys. Hopefully these things can help you too. So without further ado, smash that like button and let's get straight to the video. So in this video I'm going to be going over some of the things that I feel like I've done really well and some of the things that I feel like I haven't done well at all, and the little tricks that I've been following for the past 10 years to save this amount of money. I think I've still lived life to pretty much full. I travel all the time, I go out all the time, I have a good time with my friends, I don't just stay at home like a lot of the gurus say. It's important to have a balance between having a great time but also saving money for your future. So hopefully some of you guys have the same mindset as me. Yeah, you'll enjoy this video. So the very first thing we have to decide is our goal. What's our goal for saving money? Do you want to become a millionaire? Do you want to be financially free? Do you want to become a billionaire? Or do you just want to make a little bit of extra money so you can take you and your girlfriend on holiday at the end of the year, every year? So once you have your overarching goal decided, then you have to decide exactly how much money you're going to save each and every month. For this, we want to be as realistic as possible because let's say you make £1,000 a month, you're not going to be saving £950 of that. You want a realistic goal, and also you can adjust things over time. You know, the first month you can see maybe your goal was too small or maybe your goal was too big, and you can readjust things as we go along. So in my opinion, there's 5 different areas that we can focus on. That's rent and bills, travel expenses, food, clothing, and health. Those are the 5 most important areas in which we spend our money in our life and where we can save the most amount of money. So first, let's tackle rent. So now this is going to vary depending on who you are. Maybe you still live with your parents, maybe you're at university, maybe you're at your first job, maybe at your 10th job. But what we have to see here is where we can save some money when it comes to rent. Now, if you have the option to live at home, which is amazing, and you really want to save some money, I would highly advise that you move back home. You suck it up. You know, if you have that option, then you should take advantage of it, because if you're 20 years old and you're spending £600 a month on rent, if you live in London it's £600, £700, £800 a month on rent, then you're just wasting that money, and it's going to be pretty much impossible for you to start saving money and for you to start investing if you're spending that amount of money on rent. What I would suggest is you just suck it up and you move back home with your parents. That's if they'll have you. Now there's loads of other things you can do. So what we can do is we can do something called house hacking, where you yourself can rent out an entire apartment, and then you can rent out the rooms to your friends or to people that you know and sort of use that to subsidize your rent, and you can almost pay for half if not all of your rent by doing this. A thing that I did when I was at university with my friends is we rented an entire place that was 5 bedrooms, and then we converted the lounge into another bedroom and rented that out to our friends, and that covered our bills and really brought down our entire rent to the lowest it could possibly be at the time. So I highly suggest that you look into this and you try and do something like this. Now another idea in the same sort of realm of things is if you do have a little bit of money, you could buy somewhere and then you could rent out one of the rooms or 2 of the rooms or however many rooms they have there, and you can rent out those rooms and you can use that rent to pay off the mortgage and in turn letting you live for free. If you already have a family, you've already bought a place, or you're already renting a place, maybe there's something you can do. Maybe you could Airbnb a room. Maybe, you know, you can downsize where you are. Maybe you've got somewhere that's a little bit too lavish and a little bit out of your budget, and you know, you're just gonna have to cut back for now. While you're trying to save this money and while you're trying to build your future, there's no point in wasting money on something that you don't need. Like, you don't need to live on the top floor apartment in central London. Right now, if you're not making, you know, £10,000 a month, then better off that you cut down and you downsize and then save that for later in life when you can actually afford it. One of the main things that you have to do is you have to be living below your means always. So that means if you're making £1,000 a month, you're only spending 500. But if you're making £10,000 a month, you're still only spending way less than what you could, because you're going to take that money and you're going to invest it. That's going to build your wealth over time, and that way you're preparing yourself as best you can for your future. So the next section is our bills, and this is something that you can definitely bring down quite easily if you just make phone calls. Literally just the other day I was paying £30 a month for my contract, which gave me, like, you know, unlimited calls, unlimited texts and unlimited data, and I called up and I basically threatened to leave, and I basically negotiated down for them to give me a tariff which was unlimited text, unlimited calls, and I think 30 gigs of data, and basically it turned out I had unlimited but I was only using 12 gigs a month, so really I'm getting twice as much data as I was ever using, and I managed to cut this down to £9.50 a month. So that's a saving of £20. That sounds like nothing, but it's £140 a year. You can directly invest into something like Tesla. If you had invested £100 into Tesla just 1 year ago, it'd be worth £1,000 now. That's something, you know, that's the mindset that you've got to be in. I have this thing with my friend where we always talk about the amount of money that we put into is actually worth 5 to 10 times times more than that. So that's how you've got to look at it. It might seem small, £10, £20 here and there might seem small, but if you're using that money correctly, in 10, 20 years, that's going to be worth 10, 20 times the amount of money that you've put in. So yeah, give your providers a call, threaten to leave, and see how much money you can save. And I guarantee you're going to save quite a lot of money. So the third section is travel. Now, we can all save on travel. I've done this before. Owning a car that I just didn't need. Yeah, you got to look at the situation. So maybe you have a car, you've always wanted that car, and you took it out on finance, and now you're paying for it, and you know, it's eating into your monthly allowance. You've got to really ask yourself, does that car make up for basically not being able to save anything? You know, look at it. If it does, then ignore me. Keep the car. If the car really does make you happy, then, you know, we've got to make these sacrifices in life to keep us happy. And I did it. And I think, you know, if it does bring happiness to you, then don't get rid of it. But if you can, maybe pull back. If you can, maybe sell it and buy something a little bit cheaper. Quick story with this. I've been back and forth from Dubai for the past 5 years, and I actually bought a Camaro, which was my, you know, all-time favorite car since watching the Transformers movie. And that was expensive and it was great. But what I realized is, you know, you're really buying these cars for other people and the way you see them. Do you know what I mean? Like when I bought that car, the first day I drove it, it was amazing. And then after a while it wears off and you realize that when you're sitting in the car, you can't see the car. So you kind of get less out of it than you do thinking about and imagining having the car. You know, it's definitely something to consider. Another thing with cars is you've got tax, you've got insurance, maintenance every month or every couple of months. You know, they all add up and they all really take a toll on your bank account. So if you're already living in a city, maybe you could consider cancelling your travel card, which is so expensive in London, and you could buy an electric scooter, or maybe you could ride to work, or maybe you could jog to work if your work has a shower or something like that. There's definitely ways in which you can cut back on your travel expenses, and I highly recommend you try and figure out a way that's really going to help you add money to your bank account each and every month. So we've done travel, hopefully we've saved a little bit of money there. Now we're going to move on to food and drink. This is the money maker. This is where you save the most amount of money if you do these certain things that I've been doing correctly, and some of you aren't going to like it, I'm afraid. Just before we do, if you're enjoying these tips, or if I'm not just waffling on too much, consider smashing that like button, because it's going to really help me and the YouTube algorithm, and that's what YouTubers say all the time, so smash that like button. So first of all, we want to try and eat in as much as we possibly can. We want to stop going out, you know, 3-4 times a week. I definitely do. Save it for special occasions and try and buy your groceries. Now, when we buy our groceries, are you buying the branded items or are you buying the store brand item? You know, these little things can add up so much. You know, you're going to cut your shopping in half if you do that. Another thing that you've got to take into account is, are you getting lunch at work? If you eat lunch every day at work, probably, you know, £5 to £10 at lunch you're spending, 50 quid a week, £200 a month, and simply just make a packed lunch and eat it at work, make your food at home. Just quickly, while we're on the subject of coffees, your average coffee in London costs £2.50, and if you're getting one of those every day, that's £50 a month you're wasting. And right there, just from packing your own lunch and not getting coffees, you're going to save an extra £200 a month. And this money alone can be enough for you to be investing each and every month and growing your wealth. This is part number 4, which is clothing. And this is one of the most important things. Basically, what you will notice is if you look at the richest people on earth, they wear the most basic clothes. The goal here is to be rich, not to look rich. Get your wardrobe in a place where you have clothes for work, you have clothes for leisure, and that's it. You know, you can wear those clothes over and over again. As well as clothes, it's like consumer electronics, like your phone. I definitely upgrade my things, but when I do, I always try and sell my old things. So I've actually just bought the iPhone 11, and that's a good little trick that you can do, is I always buy the previous generation. So now the iPhone 12 has just come out, which means every man and his dog wants to sell his iPhone 11. So what I did was I sold my iPhone XS, I bought an iPhone 11 Pro for almost exactly the same price as what I sold my 11 for. You know, it was about £100 for like next to brand new phone. You know, it's top of the range, 256 gig, you know, those are super expensive, but because the 12 has come out, they're ready to just give it away. And you can do the same thing with pretty much anything. I always like to have gadgets. You know, if you want something new, think, how can I have it? Rather than, you know, I'll just wait until next month and I'll just waste my paycheck on it. Think, how can I sell something, or how can I do something? Maybe there's a little job you can do that'll give you an extra bit of money, or maybe there's something around your house that you haven't used in months. If you haven't used something in 2 months, you don't need it. Sell it. Facebook Marketplace. is your best friend, trust me. So the very last section is health, and now this is something that is quite easily done, but it's very hard to save money here, because what I would always suggest is don't skimp on things like health insurance if you're in the US or somewhere that you need health insurance to get healthcare, but it's free in the UK, so we don't have to worry about that. But basically how we save money here is treating our bodies right. When you're cooking your own food at home, you cook healthy food, you know, less oil, you can pick as much fat or as much sugar and salt and everything that you put into your food, so we're going to make ourselves much healthier, and in the long run that's going to save us the most amount of money in this section, which is health. The chronic illnesses that you can get from consuming too much sugar and too much fat and too much processed food, in 10, 20, 30 years from now, it might seem like nothing now, but then that's when these illnesses start to develop, and that's when you're going to be wasting loads of money on doctor visits and all of that stuff. So like we're preparing our money, long-term investments in our bank accounts and long-term investments in our bodies. So yeah, after doing this for a few months, you're going to have a good handle on where your money's going and where you can save more money. And hopefully these tips and tricks have really helped you on your journey of saving more money. Now, when you have this extra money at the end, I highly recommend that you start investing this money. The mistake that I made that I was talking about earlier is I was so focused on saving money. I had that goal of 100 grand and I was so focused on saving it that really I missed out on a massive opportunity to be investing each and every month, which will grow your wealth far quicker than just saving your money. I use free trade in the UK or eToro if you're anywhere else in the world. I'll leave my referral links at the bottom. You'll get free stocks if you sign up through those. If you don't, it's totally up to you. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider smashing that subscribe button, hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and if you did, I'll see you in the next video.